much for watching Stitchless TV. You're going to be completely knocked out with what we're making today. What do you think this chainmail style purse is made out of? Can you guess?
No.
A scourer. Now for those of you, those lucky people out there that don't know what a scourer is, because it's actually usually used for cleaning pans. This is a regular silver one. It's really easy to get them in silver and in gold. But do you know what? They even do blue ones and red ones and even pearly ones. This pearly one I just got from my local supermarket, and all the others are just from regular hardware stores like Homebase and Robert Bias. So for today's tutorial, all you need, 2 metal scourers. These two come in a pack like that, 99p, right? That's 99p. This zip I got down my local market. I got it down in Southall actually, and this was something like 59p. D-ring, I've got hundreds of them lying around. You can use an old key fog ring and just a little strip of just any old bit of leather or fake leather. So what you have to do is you get one of your scourers, and you'll see they've got this kind of heat seal thing at the side. Now I want as much of that material as possible, so I cut it as close as I can, but close enough to expose that filler inside. What is it? A bit of foam. And then do the same on the other side. Now before you make your next cut, make sure your scourer hasn't got a seam in it, because you want, if it has got a seam in it, you want to cut there. So I haven't got a seam, so I can cut it anywhere. So now I'm going to cut up there. So look at what I end up with. Really lovely material. Now I could go on for ages about all the different things that you could do with this material, but Esther, my producer, will tell me off, so I'm going to stick to the brief, and we're just talking about purses. So that's going to be one side of the purse, and now I'm going to do the same on the other scourer. So I'm cutting off those sealed bits. Look, you're keeping as much of the material as possible. So I cut off that one. Makes a terrible mess actually. And then I'm cutting it along there. Look more, look how nice it is. Chainmail, have I talked about chainmail? I don't mean to make out that I'm obsessed with chainmail at the moment, but I am. Look at this. I went to New York earlier on in the year. Now what was the name of the place? What was the name of the place? I think it's called Quality Fabrics. I'm going to have to check, aren't I? Anyway, it's really expensive, but it comes in a complete circle, and it might have cost, it is expensive, $200, but look at that. That is just brilliant. Look, can I just tell you something? I know I'm a mum and all that, and I'm always clearing up after kids, but I can't emphasize enough, be tidy when you sew. It's so much more of a pleasure if you're tidy when you sew and you can see what's going on and everything. But you know what, I'm not that tidy, because I'm just going to shove it underneath the table. Right, this tutorial is so easy that my 8-year-old daughter made this, and made it in about 15 minutes. Look, she made that in 15 minutes, working zip, and she loves it. It's this easy, okay? Now, the most difficult bit is the fact that they keep rolling up all the time, but it's fine. All we're going to do an exposed zip. So we haven't done zips before, so I'm starting you off really nice and easy. We're doing an exposed zip, which is when you see it. So all you're going to do is stitch that on there, and then you'll stitch that one on the other side if it stops curling. And that's all that we need to do at the moment. Right, okay, this is very, very important. You have to allow enough material to catch, but you don't want it to interfere with the zip. And where you sew, using a zigzag stitch, the same colour as your zip, it has to capture the edge of the zip as you sew. Now, Bella, one of my viewers from West London, she saw it on my website, because I have got step-by-step on my website of this tutorial, stitchless.co.uk. So Bella, this is what happened. When you did your zigzags, you didn't go right on the edge, so the zip didn't sit properly. So I'm going to show you now how to do it. So I'm going to take it to my little tiny mini JL sewing machine. I'm going to use a zigzag stitch, which for me is F. Where is F? F on my sewing machine. And I've positioned, look where I've positioned it. I've positioned it so it's going to be right on the edge there like that. And you just zigzag all the way along. So you'll find that the fabric is absolutely fine to sew. Look, it's not a problem at all. And if ever it was a problem, you're using zigzag stitch though, remember, if ever it was a problem, just try changing the needle to maybe a slightly thicker needle or something. Look, so that's it for one of them. Look at that. That is really good, isn't it? It's just so simple. So now we're going to do the other one. So I'm going to position the other one again. So I've got to make sure, right, yes, that's something that you need to think about. Make sure when you put the zip on the other side that it's aligned properly here at the top. So I've got a tiny little gap there, so I need a tiny little gap there. And then I'm just going to take that to the sewing machine and do the same on the other side. So look, this is what we've got. Now you must admit that was pretty easy, and also actually a lesson in putting in an exposed zip. I mean, it's not difficult, is it? Right, so now we're going to deal with this part here. Okay, I think this part sort of makes it. So I've got a little strip that is the same width as the line of the D-ring. I don't know how to describe that bit. So I've put my little strip of leather through there. Now, I like it being on the same end as the zip opener because I like it hanging. I feel safer about my money not falling out if it's up there. So I'm just going to stay stitch that in place first. And now when you do that, it's got to be this way round. It's very important, right? So when you're stay stitching it in, it's got to be that way round so that when you finished, it's like that. So stay stitch it in, put it into the edge and just zigzag along there. So I'm going to take that now. What I would say, especially using this little machine, if you're using a regular sewing machine, you wouldn't have a problem at all because it'd have more power. But mine is just going to struggle a little bit, but let's see. So can you hear that? So I'm just going to if you turn the wheel on the side, whenever you've got really thick fabric, you just help it along with the wheel on the side. Then it's fine. See, I haven't even got a special foot there for sewing leather because it's a really small distance. Right, so we've got that in now. Cut off my loose threads. Okay, so watch carefully. Now we're going to put right sides together. I'm lining up those two little zippy bits. I'm pushing the fabric towards the zip. Oh, line up. And I'm going to start sewing. Do you know what? I've forgotten something that is so important, right? This is really important. You have to undo the zip. Otherwise, you'll stitch it all together and you won't be able to turn it round. Whoops, that was lucky, wasn't it? So let's start again. You must undo your zip. You must undo your zip, must undo your zip. So I've undone my zip. I'm lining it up, pushing the fabric up there, putting those sides together, and using my zigzag stitch, I'm just going to stitch all the way around the purse. Right, so let's do that now. So get on there, using zigzag, backwards and forwards first of all. So remember, we're still using zigzag. Now I'm going to go over that thick bit now. So I'm just going to help it along a bit, but you'll find it's a lot easier because you're not stitching on top of the sticky kind of leather stuff. Look, it's fine, isn't it? I don't need to help it at all. So I'm allowing about 1 centimetre seam allowance. I'm going to get to that corner and I'm just going to lift up the foot, pivot it and turn it around. Now make sure everything's all lined up before you start sewing along here. Now another thing that Bella from West London, sorry, I don't mean to keep going on about you, Bella, in West London, but you were saying that you found that your purse looked a bit kind of wibbly wobbly, as if you'd stretched it. Well, I say it is because you stretched it. So it's very, very important as you sew. Look how I'm doing it. I'm not stretching it at all because it is actually quite stretchy. I'm just feeding it. Look, I'm letting the dog feed, just feed it through. I'm hardly doing anything. So as I'm coming up to the end, I'm just making sure that my fabric is pushed towards the zip, and when I get to the end, right at the end, look, struggling a bit there. It is quite thick, I've only got a little machine, and I've gone backwards and forwards quite a lot there. Now, you may think we're finished, but because it's a purse, I don't want you lot to go around losing all your money. So I'm going to do another line of stitching as well, but this time, because we've got it all nice and in position, we can use the straight stitch. So I'm going to turn mine to D, quite a big straight stitch, and I'm going to do a straight stitch just on the inside of that zigzag. Okay, so I'm going to do that now. Going all the way round, backwards and forwards in the beginning. So I'm just inside that zigzag. Get to the corner, pivot it, lift up the foot, turn around, and just go all the way round. Okay, this is the most exciting bit of a struggle there. It's quite thick, it's a zip. Ooh. It won't be like this on your machine, just if you're using one of these little jobs. But isn't it amazing that you can make these things on this little machine? It's only $49.99. Right, so now I usually just mitre that corner a little bit where the zip end will end when you close it. I've just mitered that a little bit. Trim off the bits. Are you ready for this bit of, I think it is like magic. It is, isn't it? Getting a scourer and making a gorgeous purse. Let's have a look. Let's see if it is gorgeous. Maybe it isn't. So I'm going to turn it the right way round. As you turn it the right way round, which you wouldn't have been able to do if your zip was closed, eh? You've got to push out your corners, really push out all your corners because you want them to be squared off. So I've pushed out that, and it really is. Ta-da! No, look at that. So how much do we think that cost? 99p for 2 scourers. Did I say 59p for the zip? Something like that. Let's call it £1.60. £1.60. Seriously nice chainmail style purse. Thanks a lot for watching Stitchless TV. See you next time. Bye.